Have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Kryptonite Show. Your host Superman in the house, and of course we've got one of the most exciting, talented teams on PulseChain on the show. So I hope you guys enjoy it. This is going to be an interview with the XUSD team, and of course I think they're pretty famous in PulseChain. So I think you guys are going to enjoy this interview. So without further ado, we're going to meet the team, and don't forget get in there with your comments, your questions. And we might even get a chance to answer some of those. So get in there right now. All right, let's meet the team. And a big shout out. Welcome, Anders. Welcome, Nikki. Welcome, Katie and Servicing. Big shout out to you guys. And I appreciate you guys coming on to the show. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now, you guys have got a pretty exciting story to talk about, I think, on PulseChain. And I just really appreciative that you guys come on to share it. So I guess we'll probably kick it off and just ask a little bit about your team and maybe a bit about what motivates you guys with XUSD. So anybody can kick that off.
That sounds like one for you, Katie.
Got you there,
yeah.
Katie?
So XUSD team. Me, Anders actually are the co-founders of this project.
Mhm.
We started this little less than a year ago. I think we're getting close to a year now, even. So it's been a while. We started the project because we wanted to create a token that we wanted to kind of like we wanted to save LUSD essentially, but we realized that it wasn't going to be a thing. And so then we created a token that was similar in a way that it would peg. And so we created XUSD through that kind of ideology, I guess. I used a lot of my past experiences with algorithmic stablecoins and stuff like that to kind of come up with the tokenomics behind this, and then use a lot of Anders's ideas with the whole Hex and PulseChain community to integrate it all into one cohesive project. And so from there, we just kind of built around those kind of ideas, and we started building our team, and then that's kind of pretty much how we started off.
Okay, that's pretty cool, and I love the ambition because it's a great space to be in the stablecoin industry. Apparently, America's coming in behind that with regulations, and they're hoping that it's going to support their reserve currency. So you're in the right category, I guess, to win. Now, your team's actually quite large, right? How many developers? How many people in your Telegram, social moderators, and things like that? It's quite a large team.
Yes, we do have quite a large team actually. So we have two backend developers, so John and Constantine. We have a front-end developer, one guy. We have a technical admin. I am doing head of development work. We have Anders, who is responsible for marketing. We have Nikki, who is our head of community. And we have 8 admins.
Okay.
May I interject?
And also we have one graphic designer. Sorry.
Okay.
Because Surf, you said hey, it was meant to be a stablecoin originally, and I feel that from that time you kind of shifted your goals a little bit, because there's two things going on with XUSD, and first of all is that it is primarily in liquidity, so it's basically provided or is basically liquidity provision, and the second is that you don't really want to make a stablecoin anymore. You want to make something that fluctuates around a certain price to stabilize other things. Is that
right?
Right?
It's a Vibratile asset, not a stablecoin.
Yeah. Well, that's a good bridge into that topic, because that was the next question. So nice one, Nikki.
Sorry.
Which was around the XUSD tokenomics that you guys are developing is actually pretty innovative and pushing the frontier of DeFi on PulseChain and I guess crypto generally with this Vibratile, let's call it a stablecoin, So I guess could you explain a little bit about how that works? I think you got a target price and is it $1? I mean, where does that go?
Yeah, so Vibratile asset just is a term that we kind of use to describe the oscillatory motion of the token itself, because it isn't supposed to be directly pegged to one USD. It's supposed to go above it and then below it and then above it and below it, kind of like a wave motion. So it's oscillatory, or like another way to put it, it's like a vibration. So Vibratile.
Yep, and we're not talking quantum vibrations, so we're talking stablecoins.
And
I mean, I
and
guess
I
in a way, it could be called quantum vibrations because it depends on the energy of the users. If they're actively engaging into the protocol, we are going to fluctuate around a higher point.
Yeah.
If there's going to be a temporary pushback or a bear market, we are going to have a little bit reduced interest in buying and selling, hence fluctuate around a lower price point.
Okay.
This Godman markets asking the question. Please clarify the distinction, which I think is a really good question. Well, a real stablecoin has has the goal to always be stable, or at least as stable as it can be. So these are usually collateralized assets that then move the price in a very direct and hard way. So if it's overpacked, then there will be immediate sellings, and if it's underpacked, there will be immediately buying, or sometimes it has to do with borrowing and lending. But it does that, right? It stays very close to what it should be stable to. And a Vibratile asset as XUSD actually is a bit more lax. It's like, oh, we got more demand right now. That, well, then it will obviously fly over its target price, but that can be 10% or 20%, and that's not really a problem, because then we'll change the dynamics, and then the community will bring it down because there's an overflow of XUSD. Whereas when it comes under, it can be 10%, 20% under, and that's not really a problem either, because that will change the dynamics again, and then there will be buying pressure again. So it's more relaxed, it's more lax, and that actually allows it to stabilize other things, because it takes up excess liquidity, or it takes up a shortage of liquidity by providing more. So it can balance other things more.
Okay.
and
you
and
want
I
to
can
say something?
I can add on there too, because this when we talk about like the technical tokenomics, it's very unique and interesting. Was what Surfacing was developing when I came in, and I saw that this actually could be used in a way that is in line with like Richard Hart's philosophy and so on, and especially if we go further into this when it comes to the vibe system, that it benefits like good actors in the network that actually can increase the vibe score, and then have rewards after we get to the target, which is around like $1 in price. And when we talk about stablecoin, and that is of course this is not like a stable coin, but when we just to get like the public to understand, because that is the name of having like a stable asset that fluctuates around a certain amount. We see that is and why we are calling it, but it's technically it should be more the name of a Vibratile asset,
Yeah.
as we say, and then it is
Which is
like
something new, right? That's something new.
yeah, it
really.
is. it is very new, and also so we should differentiate between like the technical tokenomics in the
Mhm.
project and another vibe system, and then something that is also in line with um, Richard Hart and so on, and that is Hart's law when
Mhm.
it comes to LP bonding. And as you have seen, and especially in the last phase where we had a system paying rewards for liquidity bonding in PulseChain's core assets. So
Mhm.
that meant that we have not seen ourselves as any competition to other like coins or Richard's core coins or even PDI, for example. Like everything that goes up and we have a liquidity pool with benefits our goal to reach the peg and so on.
Mm.
So that's why also I believe why Cathy and Surfacing took an active role in solving like the PDI problem and so on,
Yeah.
because we want that community to be treated well. And I am like a very, I have been very public with my opinion that I really strongly believe in the PDI narrative and so on. But of course, what was going on there was hurting Chain and the community. So that had to be solved.
Yeah.
And I think Kathy and Surf they spent like weeks in solving that problem, and then of course that created a lot of stress among everyone because that was not in line with what many people in the PDI community believed and so on. But at the same time, in to give my opinion in it is that if this would be something that would be like against anyone's will, then of course those actions and what Kathy and so on did in PDI would not
Yeah.
have been possible to do. So we work, and then as I say, this is in line with that, and we are believing that the technical thing and so on is like tokenomics in the line of like the Pulse chain philosophy and so on.
Mhm. Okay, so on one hand, we've got stable coins that are collaterally backed, like Liquidity Forks, maybe the Coast Fiat backed coin. And then on the other hand, we've got your new model, which is the Vibratile XUSD, which is really is. I want to break that down just a little bit at a high level before we get into some mechanics. But do you guys actually have a goal of $1? Is there a path to $1? Can the system go past $1? And also, you actively manage that, or do you just allow incentives for? So is there systemic, management, or do you just allow individual mechanics and incentives to get to that target price?
Yeah, so we do have the target price of $1, and the way it kind of holds or oscillates around that is through minting or the expansion and contraction of the token, or minting and burning.
Mm-hmm.
So on every transfer, there is an amount that is burned, and that burning contracts the supply. With supply and demand, the less supply you have, and the same amount of demand or more demand, the price will go up.
Mm-hmm.
Once it is over that $1 target, it will expand the token supply to the bypass holders proportionally, and then it will then drive the price back down. And so these are all mechanics that are within the code itself, kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's the people using and interacting with the token is what will keep its oscillatory motion around the $1 mark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
is that the later half? Is that more individuals? I see Nikki's up there for the question answer there. Do you want to add to that before I ask a question?
yeah, I'd like to add to that because surfacing obviously is correct, but I think there's more to say to it. This means, first of all, that it requires volume, because I mean, you can burn supply, but if there's no volume, it doesn't do anything. So XUSD is absolutely designed to continuously have volume, and at the moment, that is usually incentivized with these rewards that are currently O1 swap rewards. But the idea also within XUSD is that it is as liquid as possible, which means that it has liquidity pools with just about everything. Any kind of other project that is decent, there will be liquidity pools with it. And then the idea is that eventually, XUSD can also be a token to be routed over, probably when the taxes are a little lower. Then you start seeing that real volume, and when that real volume hits, then this mechanism will really kick into action.
Okay. So if I understand
And
you correctly, oh, sorry, go surfacing.
uh, or it was me that just add on something there. Just for one example of the liquidity bonding, we see that today that PDI is up, for example, 22%, and XUSD is also up 22%. So that is, and the market cap of XUSD, I believe it's below $2 million today. But the liquidity pools is have sometimes been even higher, especially when we had the reward system, have even been higher than XUSD market cap. So that is something like extremely powerful with the liquidity pools and the bonding that XUSD have. So that's why I say that we are like really interested in like the success of everything on PulseChain, and especially the ones that we have high liquidity bonding too. So and we have like a faster way, hopefully to the target price of $1 than many others because of the tokenomics and the burning and the contraction and so on. More activity, more burning, and we have had fantastic results. The whole community, you can go in and check the burning rate in XUSD. It's like magic to watch the burning rate and how much that have already been burned. So,
Yeah, I see it's at 10.5% already, which is, and that's only in a little wee while, a few weeks, is it? So, yeah, it's pretty impressive. So let me understand. So just as at the high level, just to wrap up the high level before we get into a bit more into mechanics, because I'm pretty keen on finding out about those, is that the system, the code itself has incentives in it, and that drives behavior. But you also have market dynamics with the liquidity webbing, which also interact with each other and facilitate that, and gets lifted by the chain doing well. And then, do you actually have any influence or manage path with the stable coins? Like, do you have any tweaks or any dials that you turn on and off, or is it just all in that code and I guess the market dynamics?
When it's all said and done, it's all about the market dynamics in the code itself.
Yeah, okay.
The way we designed it is so that like 100 years from now, it will still be functioning.
Yeah.
So without any team or anybody behind it, it should still run as it should.
Okay, fantastic. I think that was a really good coverage of that.
But right now, it's still being incentivized manually. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it's we can get down to the next level, down some of the mechanics. So you do have inflation and incentives. You got the burning, right, with the taxes. You've also got rewards, TWAPs, and epochs. So you've got quite a few different terminologies there. Are you able to explain maybe simply how that all works together at the next level down?
Yeah. So with the trading rewards, we have different epoch systems, and I guess even with the gauge staking rewards, or the LP staking, that's on an epoch system. And so what that means is that it's just a set time frame, which is and the trading rewards, there's a 6-hour epoch that refills the rewards for the trading pairs that you trade through. So every 6 hours they will get refilled, and there's a cap on the amount of rewards, which incentivize people to do it as quickly as possible to gain the rewards.
Yeah.
And the main idea behind like a 6-hour epoch is to keep people coming back to the site and to keep people trading and to keep them hooked. It's a dopamine rush every time
I
they
really
do
like that idea. I like that
reward.
idea. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, it's turned out to be pretty successful, and humans are somewhat simple in a way. If they get a dopamine hit, then they'll come back for more. It's just kind of like how we work.
yeah,
And
yeah.
We are
Uh,
drug dealers.
it is like that, right? And
I didn't want to say it, but you said it.
you get protocols like you get communities out there, that do this is like the most, I guess, dynamic sort of trading environment as well on PulseChain. It's kind of unique. So yeah, you guys are bringing a lot to that. Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I don't know if you're aware of Tetra that's coming out soon. That's going to possibly allow a whole trading niche on PulseChain, but you guys are kind of already doing your own thing with that, which is pretty exciting. Now, what sort of feedback do you get from some of these guys that are doing the incentive with the Vibes Pass, I guess, and all the other? What is sort of feedback you've been getting around that or participation?
yes, so right away, like when we were doing it with the XUSD rewards, like I mean, we had people saying that they're like brushing their teeth while trading at the same time. They would have timers set, and it was just constantly active. So honestly, that was
Yeah.
really cool to see that. I really like that aspect of it.
Have you got anybody streaming? Like you get traders streaming on their trades and stuff. Do you get anyone doing that with I guess, trying to earn? Is it Vibes? Is that and the XUSD? I think is the.
No, I don't.
We
I don't
have
think we have had anybody yet.
now.
I don't know. I could be wrong though.
We have coexistent Steven is part of the team too. So he have done a few streams about XUSD, but I don't think that but he have probably tried all these different systems. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of
but-
find that kind of interesting.
And it's also
Yeah.
going up and down, right? Sometimes, for example, right now, trading rewards are an 0-1 swap, and sometimes people don't see the trading as worth it, and then it kind of drops down a little bit, and then some tweaks need to happen, and then it will go up again. So it's still, that's why it's still being managed also as a team, as opposed to what it should be eventually, something entirely on its own. There's also a reason why it's not yet released away from the team, because Surfsing is actively managing that kind of stuff. There's
Sure.
an interesting question, by the way, from Matt in Bali, and there was
Oh, yeah.
another one from Godman Markets. I don't
Roll
know.
back somewhere. Is that the last one of Matt? Yeah.
Yeah, Matt is the last one, and then there's Godman Markets with signs of
Market.
successfully executing.
This one here.
Yeah, that one. Because the sign of something successfully executing in this is the fact that it gets used. The other parts of the sentence are a little bit harder, like how will PDI and other payable respond accordingly? I don't know. If they are in liquidity with XUSD and XUSD goes up, then obviously they will go up a portion as well, and the other way around as well. I mean, that's Hart's law, isn't it? But mostly, what are signs of good use is high volume. That is the simplest answer, and I think it's also the best one.
Okay. We got the second one from Matt here. I got a silly question. If the supply of any coin is cut in half, does that instantly and automatically adjust the price to double of what it was, or is there more at play?
Yeah, and that's also a good question, because it depends upon volume, right? If you, for example, if you've got a storage somewhere and there's $100,000 in it, let's not say dollars because that won't work, but 100,000, let's say 100 million used XUSD, and then you drop it down to 50 million XUSD, and then you can wonder, is it worth double that? Probably not, because it's still in that storage. Like, the whole point of it is that it's continuously traded and that people continuously set a price for it. And if there is demand and people say, "Hey, well, Bill, but you got 100,000 left there," then obviously they're going to pay a lower price than when there is demand and they see, "Oh, you don't have that much left anymore. Let's up the price a little bit." So the whole thing depends on trading all the time. Volume is the key to actually combine it with the burning. Burning alone doesn't increase the price, but burning combined with volume absolutely does.
It does, yeah. All right, good question there. All right, get any more questions you guys got in the chat there as we go. So you guys have also got what's this? You got you had 3 phases of the launch: Genesis, bootstrapping, and operational. Where are we at the moment? We at the bootstrapping, operational, somewhere like that.
I think we're still in the bootstrapping, I guess you could say. I think that will last for over a year.
Okay.
Or about, yeah, so we're bootstrapping. Operational phase is when we are have revoked all accesses and we have stepped back from the team, kind of thing, and it's completely operational and on its own.
And is there going to be a DAO or something like that? Is that you anticipating anything like that?
In a way, yes. The Vipass holders will have governance rights to change different parameters of the system. There's not going to be like an investment DAO aspect to it, but it'll be like adding different vibe classes to help change the vibe scores of the users per transfer.
Okay. Now you've talked about Vibe, and that's the next question. So Vibe passes, what are they? How do you get them? How do you use it? All that sort of stuff. What are the benefits?
Right. So the Vibe passes are an NFT that are soul bound, and you can purchase one with the OneSwap token. And the price of it decreases linearly over time. And so what the bypass is that once you buy it, your burns start to get tracked on that account. And when we are overpegged, the amount of burns that you have will determine how much overpeg seigniorage rewards in XUSD that you get through the expansion of the token. And so that will, if you get the bypass early on and you're constantly burning or trading the token, you're going to get more rewards later on as well. Another aspect of the vibe pass is that you can propose and vote in new vibe scores or vibe classes, which help determine your vibe score. For example, you can have a vibe class that says, "Hey, if you hold this amount of that token, your vibe class or your vibe score goes down by like 5 basis points," and so on and so forth. And those vibe classes can be anything as long as it fits within the structure of the system. So yeah, the possibilities to them are up to the creative minds of the users or the community. You can even have like a vibe class that says if you trade between this amount of time during the day, your vibe score lessens by this amount, and so on and so forth. If the volume is up a lot, then you can have it decrease the amount of your vibes and stuff like
Or
that.
increase.
Okay.
Or increase. Hey, but there's one thing that I wanted to add to, because surfacing here used, you'll get the seniorage reward when the token expands, and I think it's important for people to understand such terms. Seniorage rewards means that you have a right to a certain printing of the token, and when the token supply expands, that means that the token gets printed at that time. So when the token is over peg, then seniorage rewards kick into play based on the amount of burns that you have. So the more burns that you have and the fact that you have a bypass will make you the rightful owner of newly minted tokens. And therefore, when newly minted tokens come into play, they will be sent to you partially because you're one of the people who have the right to it. That is how seniorage rewards work.
Now, will that work? Will that work at when you get to $1? Is that when that triggers, or how does, or does it not?
As, as soon as it goes over the dollar.
$1. Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, seigniorage is a term that is used to it means the profit between making a currency and the sell of the currency. And it's usually reserved to the kings of a country. Kind of.
That's the old explanation. It's a feudal system where the lord in French seigneur would actually be the one who is allowed to mint tokens or to mint coins, and they would, for example, mint a gold coin and say, well, this is a gold coin, this is how much it's worth, and that would be their right as being the seigneur. And then but they might, make that coin a little bit later than what it actually says it is, so the pound might not be a pound, and then the difference in gold or the difference in silver would be considered their seigniorage. So they have the right to mint money, and therefore they can make money. Now in crypto it's a little bit different because there's no such a scam at play as there would be back then. There, it's simply like you are the lord, and you get more tokens printed to you, which is kind of inflation of the token, but only based on certain rules. So it's a bit more fair than back in feudal times, but it's the same principle.
What do you expect to happen when that you get to the dollar and you get these seigniorage payments or from the rights? What do you expect to happen to the dollar peg at that time?
Well, it will be a little bit over a dollar, so we expect it to come back down to a dollar and possibly below a dollar a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Now the next thing I had was this. I guess kind of related. I don't know if we've got a question in the chat there. I'll get to that in a minute. But you got around peg control. Did you have anything comment on peg control besides everything we've already talked about with the incentives and the Vibe Pass?
Yeah, the peg control is just the expansion and contraction of the token system itself.
Okay, cool. And we've got here. I'm just jumping through some of this. The future roadmap and vision for what you've got going. We'll get to that question, but we've got Scott one in the chat first. So I'll get to that. So Godman here's got another question about Terra Luna comparison or contrast. You got any thoughts on that? Yeah.
Terra Luna was an interesting failure, where there was a one-on-one burn minting going on for Terra to UST, and from UST to Terra. And the fact that it was able to burn mint wasn't really a problem in the first place, but as soon as it became something that was borrowable, people could short it, and as soon as people could short it, it was an easy thing to just short a whole lot of Luna and then sell that stuff, and then buy UST, burn it for more Luna, then sell that stuff again, buy and then buy more UST again, and rinse and repeat. So that was just a system failure that could have been foreseen by just about anyone who would take 10 minutes to look at the code. Apparently nobody did that, and therefore it absolutely fit. But we all learned a whole lot of lessons from that. First of all, the lesson to actually look at the code and what it does, and look at the tokenomics and what it does. But second of all, for everyone who designs tokenomics, to be careful that your system might look cool in the first place, but it should also work when people are able to short it, and it should also work when people are able to, flash loan against it and stuff like that. So there is not really a comparison aside from the fact that tokens get minted and burned. It's an entirely different system.
Okay, cool. Godman says nearly lost everything in Luna. I did not look at the code.
Yeah, man, it was really nasty. At that time I had like 15K in UST, and I was just in time to take most of that out. I was so lucky. I
Yeah.
woke up at 5 o'clock and I was like, "Oh shit, this is going wrong. Let's sell." But good. That was my whole life savings at the moment.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess the next question I've got, if you've got more questions in the chat there, get in there and get those questions in, is the future roadmap and vision that you might have for the project moving forward over the next sort of 12, 18 months maybe.
Yeah, so future roadmap. Currently, our next phases will be with the X1 swap token and its governance over the O1 swap rewards. So the X1 swap token will give more value to the one swap token itself, which is part of the O1 swap rewards,
Mhm.
which will help incentivize the trading rewards and incentivize volume and stuff like that. Um, it's a really cool system. What you're able to do is you'll be able to vote on which trading pairs and what staking pairs get the most rewards, kind of like Curve did with their hold gauge system. In fact, we use a lot of the same contracts with the gauges and whatnot. And also, they'll be able to use your Vibe Pass to vote in new pairs for trading rewards and for LP staking rewards. So
Yeah.
I think this whole aspect creates people coming back to the system and actively participating in it as well. So
Just on
that's
the
something.
yeah. Sorry, Nicky. Nick, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to add to that whole idea of. Um, I'm sorry, I was distracted by the TV in the background comment. No, talking about X1 swap, because I think that surfacing of glosses over a really cool thing that he himself made up, which is the fact that when you get into X1 swap, you basically pay just your one swap. But if you decide to get out, you pay 50% tax. However, that 50% tax gets then immediately spread over everyone who is still in an X1 swap. So aside from the fact that you use your X1 swap to make government decisions or governmental decisions, you also, the longer you stay in it and the longer you basically be an active community member who makes all those kinds of decisions, the longer you will receive rewards from other people who decide to basically opt out and get out. So this is a time in the market will directly lead towards profit kind of token, which I kind of like. It's an always up system. Um, which well, that's a funny system that I've seen before, and it's yeah, I think in this case, since it has an extra use case, it has a real good chance of working.
And there's also a little bit more added to it as well. Based on the amount of trading rewards that are given out, a certain percentage of that is minted directly to the X1 swap as well. So it adds to it through an outside system as well. So it's not just from withdrawing the token too.
Hmm,
So it's two
I didn't
aspects
know
to
that.
it
Yeah.
that really kind of
Nice.
make
Yeah.
it pretty hardy.
Now, are you guys targeting like an adequacy, liquidity, or a volume play? Like, or are you doing like every single pair that you can think of on PulseChain that's got adequate liquidity, or do you have certain rules about that? How do you play that in terms of LP setting up at the moment?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, most of
yeah.
the
Maybe
LP
you.
are core tokens to the chain itself, I guess you could say, are more active.
Mm-hmm.
But once we have the governance aspect set up with the X1 swap and the Vibe passes, anybody will be able to add any XUSD LP to it, as long as it passes the required amount of votes, kind of thing.
Okay.
And they'll sit on there for like 2 weeks, and then they can be removed. So it'll be active participation to keep certain community pairs up there.
Okay. And I did see let's got some questions in here. We'll just try and get some of these. Triple Alliance says a question for Nikki. His background, your background, if you want to talk about that at all.
Cool. My background is broad, but in crypto, my background is having started entering into DeFi in 2021, and then entering a team in DeFi the beginning of 2022, which was the Grape Finance team, which was a senior protocol, actually just a Tomb fork, but on AVAX. And I entered that team by starting to write strategies for the community. It's like, hey, what if we do that? What if we do that? And then the owner of that protocol, LB, he said, well, I actually like your strategies. They make a lot of sense. So let's post them, and here is some wine. Like that wine was one of the tokens. So it was like, whoa, I get stuff for writing stuff. That's cool. So eventually that turned into me joining the team as a sort of community manager, because I took the lead in the fact of like what kind of strategies we were taking and informing everyone. And I did that for quite a while, and then eventually I started getting really interested in the fact that with DeFi, you can create any kind of economic system. And I really like systems because I like all kinds of games that have systems, and I always look for loopholes, and I look for ways to work with it and optimize it and exploit it, and then make sure that the exploits are fought against again, stuff like that. So that is where my real interest for all these tokenomics come from. And at the same time, while I was delving into crypto, I obviously also needed to delve in the worldwide stage of money, where I found out how extremely corrupt everything is. And I was like, okay, that kind of ignited the rebel within me. I was like, okay, let's fight this corrupt system. Let's create something more beautiful, and let's do it on DeFi, which kind of led me to start designing as well. And of course, my first couple of designs were real shit. But after a couple of years, I got better and better, up to a point where I'm now even, starting up my own protocol, of course, with a lot of people who are also knowledgeable. That is my background in DeFi. Other than that, I have a background with stuff like working in the funeral business. I've been a police officer for a while. I've been in the army, and I've been a nurse for 10 years.
Wow.
Also in psychiatry and stuff like that. But yeah, that's not really related. Although it does give me, it did give me a lot of skill at communicating. But some people might not agree. I could still be abrasive. Anyone can, but usually.
You sound pretty good to me. I don't know.
All right. Well, you see,
and you're in the right team as well, because it sounds like you're a pretty creative team pushing the frontiers of things. So it's
yeah, that's what I like. I'm like, let's leave all that old shit behind. Let's leave the banks behind. Let's just move on to a better future. So yeah. That's kind of my background.
Okay, awesome. I'll see if there's any others there. DX, yo, thanks for support of the new crypto videos. Yeah, no, most welcome there with the Bubble website. Now, the one thing I want to say is we've gone through, I think, the high level from what Vibratile XUSD is all about. We've talked about VibePass, talked about the OSwap, and of course the pegging goal. We did have a question here just before I get into my one, which is inspiration for this. Now, we did talk about the vision a bit at the beginning around the reason why XUSD and stuff and where it's heading. But how do you keep accountable was the question here from Godman here. I'm not sure what that means, so you guys can answer or not answer that one. I know you guys got just a team, right? You just do your thing, and So, all right, so we'll move on from that one. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure about that one.
No, keeping accountable is difficult, right? Everything on chain is completely unregulated, so the whole thing runs on reputation. The whole thing runs on what people think of you, and that's either good or bad. I think though that there is something like stealing. And I think that, like, for example, if certain funds were meant for a certain thing, and you said like, hey, for example, we have a pre-sale and we're gonna build a protocol with it, and then you take the pre-sale and take it home and not build the protocol, well, then you've stolen. But other than that, the accountability is difficult, because you build a protocol, and then halfway you think, oh wow, that thing that I designed is actually a little bit different. It's a little bit dangerous. Maybe I should adjust the tokenomics a little bit. That is accountability, but some people might hate it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah. All right, so that was so we've gone through pretty much all your project, I think, in the high level, and people can definitely check out the website, which I want to do quickly now. So we'll just shift gear here. and jump over to the XUSD price here versus Pulse. It's kind of tracking at the moment. I think we're at 47 hundredths of a penny. And obviously we had the big pump back there on the P Maker Day on the 16th of April. How are you guys feeling about where this is so far on this chart? I'm not sure where we've got the beginning here. Yeah, back here on the 24th September 2024. You guys can't comment on price and stuff, but is this kind of where you expect it to be? I mean, is this because there's a longer roadmap? How do you guys feel about that? Is there anything you can make about that without talking about price predictions and things?
Yeah, I honestly think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
There's still a lot more production still left in the product and the project itself.
Yeah.
So it's not fully done yet. So it's very understandable why it wouldn't be closer to $1 just yet. There's still other risk factors that are involved with the project as it currently sits because it's not completed yet.
Yeah.
So it makes
I'm
sense.
just going to post this chart in the chat there if anyone wants to check it out. XUSD. That is the chart there. And now there's a whole ton of pairs trading, of course. So just remember that. That is the Pulse one now. And then the website is here. And it's got tons of information on it, right? So I'll post that in the chat as well if people want to check that out. So get this out of the way and check it out for sure because it really is, very much. It's got to be top 3 innovative project on Pulse. So there we go on that one. Now, yeah, did you have something to say, Nikki?
No. I was just coughing and saying sorry about that.
Sure, that's right. All right, so we've got LP staking here. We've got VibePass. We talked about that. We've got voting. We've got trading and documents. And the documents are pretty comprehensive. So you should check that out as well. You get a lot more.
I just add one thing to that. You said one of the top 3 projects, and I think that needs to be really emphasized as well, because what we have here now is a project that have not done a sacrifice.
Yeah,
that's very, very unique.
Golden, yeah, that's true.
We have a project here that have not done a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then secondly, as we mentioned in the beginning, all the core tokenomics in this project, XUSD, is directly, in my opinion anyway, direct philosophy of Richard and the PulseChain ecosystem.
Yeah,
when
100%.
it comes to the tokenomics and so on. So that's I just wanted to add that in when you because it's very important. It's like some projects, raised, $50 million, and
yes.
So and here we have one that is have not got one penny in sacrifice.
100%, and that is golden. That is golden. I think that's a great tribute to your team. Hey, look, I've been so excited about getting you guys on the show because I know you guys are really pushing the frontier of this DeFi, and I'm pretty excited to see where it all goes. And I'll be tracking obviously over in the future. Yeah, I think we might have some more comments in there. Let's see if we've got any more because I wanted to move topic here. So just last question about community. What does community mean to you with the XUSD?
Who are you asking?
Any of you guys? Any of you guys got any comment about community? Because I know you got a pretty good one.
I personally think community is everything to XUSD. I mean, it's essentially it's literally what keeps it oscillating around the $1 mark.
Yeah.
So community is extremely important for the protocol resilience and its goal, essentially.
I know that when I go into your Telegram, everyone's commenting pretty mature. There's no silly business. Everyone's pretty just normal, and I like that. I really think that's refreshing. So
I've always tried to build my community so that it is very well educated and informed, and it kind of takes out all that silliness that you find in a lot of other communities. I think a lot of the silliness is to me it raises red flags, and it's just not very productive to DeFi as a whole. I mean, DeFi is so new that there is a lot of information out there that most people don't know or understand. And I think one of the biggest curves into getting a mass adoption is education.
Yeah.
And through education, you have other community members that are more educated and get more education, and then they also then educate more people as well. So then it's just like a snowball effect.
Yeah, and I've used this principle within Grape Finance. I've used this principle with XUSD now, and I'm using it in my new protocol, Better Bank, as well. Like when you create a community, I am definitely against any kind of tribalism. Like we are the best, the rest suck, whatever. As soon as we see that, we damp it down, and I always instruct my mods to do that as well,
Yeah.
because that kind of stuff is not helpful to anything. DeFi is one nation almost, and it needs to, it needs to supplement each other. And if you like one protocol over another, that's fine, but that doesn't mean that you need to shit on another one, right? You just need to basically be honest about, oh, okay, I like this certain aspect and I don't like that certain aspect, and any kind of genuine question is always welcomed. But any kind of like real hate or angry words or whatever, we just delete it. I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of
And,
stuff doesn't fly,
and,
and that really works and helps.
and I would like to add too regarding community that for me, I see that the XUSD is one very unique project that actually have very high community participation. And that means that is also back to the tokenomics, that we have very active community when it comes to like trading rewards. We have, when it comes, as I said, with the LP, that this is LP, that the majority is not coming from me or coming from any other actor in the PulseChain ecosystem. This is from the community that have actually added on like LP. And as I said, we have had times where our liquidity in our vaults have been higher than our market cap. So that is also a very strong indication of like the community participation.
Yeah.
Plus, another very, very important thing is that yes, our total amount of people yet now is not so high in our Telegram, for example. But at the same time, we probably have like 25% of the total that is online, and that is not many projects that have like 25% active of the total number in the Telegram group. So that's also very interesting. So I'm very amazed by the community participation, and then also the excellent job that surfacing John and Nicky is doing as well. But especially when you have like the core dev, the lead dev is in so much that the surfacing is and answering questions and so on. That is like really strong
Yeah.
community builder and so on, which I am amazed by as well to see.
Yeah, 100%. And my observations, you guys, this is something I've been going on about, is seeing more professional teams, more professional elements to the whole Pulse chain in particular. And you guys are definitely bringing all that, which is really exciting, as well as, of course, with the innovation, like you was talking about,
Yeah.
and servicing, and all that stuff. So it's really great. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. We got a couple of comments in the chat there. We got Godman says, Australian economics taught me and inspired me. First, I got mad when I learned relationships between government, man, and money, but then empowered me. Thanks for sharing, Nick. So that was a nice comment there. What else there? We got MBS in the house there. Big shout out. He's my promotionals lead. So big shout out to MBS. Great stream, guys. Much respect. And we've got a few other people there as well. Blair in the house there. Hi, all. Good to see you, Blair. Money Gang Crypto out there is another influencer out there. Afternoon. Good to see you, Money Gang Crypto. And amen to that, says God, man. Nice. Now, I just want to shift gear a little bit, unless you guys have got anything particular around XUSD you'd like to add, because I wanted to shift gear, and I talked to Katie about this, into anything you had to say around James Maria, what he's been up to. I think he's been coming back in, as far as I can see, into the marketplace over the last, I don't know, 24, 48 hours. And something around good code and things like that. Any insights that you feel comfortable talking about there?
For recent Maria actions, I haven't really been keeping up, to be honest.
Okay.
so we can't really comment too much on what he's been doing within the last couple of days, to be honest.
Okay.
But his his coding ability is superb. Like it is, it's pretty out there, to be honest. I've worked with him personally on a couple different tokens, like the Dibs token we worked together on, and like I mean the dude can just pump out the code. Like if he puts his mind to it, within like a few days he had a new code written that would be like is comparable to like Uniswap style code base, like within
Wow.
like a few days.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Dips
How
was on
good
BSC,
code
right?
he is. What was that?
Dips was on BSC, right?
No,
Or-
this was on PulseChain, and it was
oh,
actually
a
a
different
yeah,
one.
this was a token that would mint on transfer to LP tokens itself and get
Yeah, we just
captured.
saw. I think yesterday the Troper was moving up, and there was talk of him coming back in, protecting that after the exploit on PMaker, and they're also trying to do some parity between the fork stable coins, which will be interesting to watch as well. There was a couple of comments there. Yeah, I have a brother like that. He's a genius coder, and he gets paid a lot of money. That's all I can say. But yeah, we got PulseChain generally. I think we might wrap up with that. PulseChain generally. How do you feel about PulseChain and where it's going?
I think PulseChain is, I guess, now on the up and up. I mean, Richard Hart just did a stream for the first time in
Yeah.
who knows how long, which is really cool. He beat his court case. It was like totally beat it kind of thing. Like it's now like done and over with, and like it's pretty crazy how he won that. Which I mean, honestly, it wasn't too hard of a win. It was just the way the whole case kind of played out. It was, I don't know, his lawyers were really good, and he had a very straightforward approach to it that made sense. So of course the judge is going to side with something like that more so than the prosecutor. Um, but yeah, no, that was a very smart approach, and I think it's going to reflect well on his entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
And
Crypto
not
as
only
a
that, I
whole,
really
yeah.
like how PulseChain is very open minded. There's no one foundation behind everything saying what is right and what is wrong. It's very open to builders just building, and the community kind of searches for some of these builders and whatnot. And so then it really kind of supports creativity, which is very much needed within the DeFi space because it is so new.
Yeah, but there is a lot to it, though. I started my DeFi road with Ohm on ETH, and then moved to AVAX, and then all of these senior protocols, and there was some Wonderland involved as well, which then something went wrong there, but there was a certain vibe to DeFi back then on all of these chains, and I seem to have lost it on all of those chains. I can't really find it anymore. It's now like really big projects, and either people chasing meme coins or not being very serious about it anymore. And now when I was introduced to PulseChain via XUSD, actually, because I was invited as a community manager, I suddenly refound that crowd. I was like, oh, here's where all these people hang around. It's like, oh, here's where all the innovative people hang who really want to see DeFi succeed and everything. And I really love the fact that Richard won that SEC case, because that really gives PulseChain an edge. It's great. At the same time, though, it really feels like PulseChain is just starting. I mean, liquidities are low sometimes, and Richard touted that as a positive because then prices can moon. And of course, he's right. But at the same time, if you want to create a good protocol, you need liquidity, especially a lending and borrowing protocol like I'm building. I mean, you just need thick liquidity. Otherwise, it's bloody dangerous, because if you liquidate someone and you have slippage of 10%, you have nothing left.
Yeah.
And that is so I do feel that it's definitely still in its beginning stages. We have real trouble finding a stablecoin. The only one we have, I believe, or there are a few, but the main one is is DAI from ETH. And how solid is that? It's not that solid. So I really hope that a stablecoin will come, and not just for the dollar, but also for gold and also for silver and stuff like that. And I know that some initiatives are there. I mean, I've seen what was it? Tether Gold is now on PulseChain, but it has a
Right.
liquidity of
Correct, yeah.
under 50K. So it basically doesn't really do anything yet.
Yeah.
So what I really hope, first of all, is that more people will start building on PulseChain, because it is actually a really cool chain. At the same time, being a new protocol or being a new builder on PulseChain, and I'm not an engineer dev myself, right? I am I came from the community perspective,
Yeah.
and I then started designing protocols. But I have a developer team within my team who does the stuff. And what I notice is that there's real difficulty entering this space, but because there's so many people who just keep referring to the OG coders and whatever as if they should do everything. And that really, I think that's the kind of thought pattern that should change a little bit, like be invitive towards new people. And that's not just on the personal level, but it's also on the code level. I mean, my main developer, LB, he had real trouble finding proper oracles, because oracles aren't really supported by Chainlink here. And,
Yeah.
and we have real trouble finding on ramps and off ramps, because there are just not that many. And these are the kinds of things that I would really love to see solved. And I really hope that maybe we can do something about it, or at least we can
Yeah.
help there. But that's the kind of thing that PulseChain really, really needs. So I think it is up to a great start because of this legal win, and it's also up to a great start because everyone here really wants to see everything decentralized. I mean, that is definitely the sort of rebelliousness that we need in this world. That's the revolution that should come. But at the same time, we really need to work on it, and we need to work together instead of bitching on each other, right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
There's just picking up on some of the comments you made. I mean, there's Liquid Loans recently launched Fetch Oracle. I don't know if you guys have checked that out. Probably have. There's Signum Oracle coming from Stu and Tetra,
Yeah.
and then there's PUSD ALGO, which is an attempt which worked on testnet a year ago from Jacob, of course, a very good dev. So there are a couple of things there. You got any? I don't know if you got any comments on those, but
Not
I
really.
know
I'm keen to
PUSD.
check them out, but let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
I've,
hear
yeah,
I've
it.
checked out PUSD and its documents and how it's supposed to keep peg. I do have doubts about it, to be honest. But I mean, I think an algo coin is very hard to make. So it's I don't know. There's no perfect one out there so far.
yeah,
But yeah, I do have some doubts on its tokenomics. But yeah, I do. But I guess you can look at XUSD and you can see that's vastly different. So of course I'm going to have doubts on their
yeah,
tokenomics, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you guys know the stablecoin trilemma, and we've had a problem with the velocity of money in crypto with stablecoins. So that's, I guess, another problem in scalability. So there's a couple of areas there that are, I'm hoping that PUSD Argo will help a bit, and obviously your project as well. So fingers crossed. See what happens there. Now,
Right.
I just want to finish off with one last question. I wanted to pass this to, I don't know any of you, but Anders in particular, because you're into marketing and promotions, and that is, we've had Rack and
Yeah.
Rochelle recently, who's involved with XUSD and other projects, really pushing promotions and marketing, following, of course, with Richard Hart talking about that too. What's your view about promotions regarding PulseChain, maybe XUSD?
Yeah, yeah. For me, I can talk a lot about that. And I was Love.io was actually the first project launching on PulseChain. I think after the mainnet was up think we launched 1 week after, and I've been even before PulseChain launched. I was out on international crypto conferences, over 40 international crypto conferences for 2 years, and marketing and talking about PulseChain and defending Richard Hart's in the Bitcoin debates and everything. So I see that, and there is different aspect of it, and I think that there is marketing that is targeted to like people who are active in the PulseChain community, and here I would say that the best marketing is to be on streams with the influencers in the PulseChain ecosystem and so on. Of course, that have been also a little of a controversy, because there have been like different camps, and so on. Oh, we don't talk about that project, or we don't like that, and so on. But that is basically what like marketing works there. And then we have like the outside marketing, and that actually I see that it starts now with Richard winning so massive, because now no one can call him a scammer. Like I can talk to anyone, and but because before I had to spend like 1 hour first to explain why Richard was not a scammer, or PulseChain or X or anything. So it's very hard to like market anything outside PulseChain when that was the case. But I see that now we have like the winds are turning, and I think that we have like the main influencers, YouTubers like Ivan on Tech, even Banter as well. We have had them as
Indio,
and silent respect of Richard the whole time, but they have not been able to go out, and they had to keep a very like down profile during this time and so on. But I see that now this will really start, and everything goes with green candles. So now the PulseChain ecosystem, the core coins, will start to pump. Maybe the PDI narrative will build again. That will also bring in outside investors coming into PulseChain. And of course, new exciting projects like XUSD that is also takes a little more time to understand. But when people understand it, it's great. And as I say, like the many very important thing when it comes to blockchain technology, and we talked about marketing. You do marketing too with your wallets, basically. And when we are talking about like Rackcam, like yes, there is many that maybe criticize Rackcam, but I say I rather have Rackcam on my side and investing and buying and having a whale position than someone else, or no one. Because that means that he is actually he have done like an amazing good work for XUSD. I think Rackham have like pumped invest. I'm not sure how much he had have invested, but he have invested a lot, and he do marketing with his wallet, and that is like really important and coming up. And I also think I also heard that he is starting some think tanks that he was inviting in like project, and I think that's amazing. And I would like to do. I have sort of done like the same here in Phuket in Thailand, because here is like a big crypto community, and we had I had the XUSD team Nikki and Kathy and Surf here in Phuket as well, that we could spend some time together and talk and so on. And I do that with many like projects and so on. It's like very important to have that space, and I think what Rackham is doing with in Florida, doing that and so on, is like
Yeah, the
also
retreat.
really
Yeah.
really good. And then,
Yeah,
but back to that, like what we need to get, like the really big outside economic energy coming in. We need to have these like the green candles. We need Ivan to take like a big position in PulseChain again, which he did, like, and then we will start to be like more legit and get even more, And in my vision of PulseChain, I'm seeing that we are on the way of building a blockchain that is really true DeFi. Like we can talk about true DeFi as much as we want to, but here we actually have that like really true DeFi that we have like with the basic fundamentals of Richard Hart when it comes to like projects with no admin keys and
can
no centralized entities and controlling and so on, and the privacy aspect, and if we have all of these rumors that is going on when it comes
yeah.
to the PulseChain wallet that maybe it's in the making, and all the liquidity bonding and everything that happens, like I think that we will have like the perfect chain the next year, 2 years, it will
Yeah,
be
like
like massive.
I think it's rounding up like that. Nikki's got a comment
Yeah.
to make too, I think, on that one.
Yeah, I do. Because to add to all of that, I think it's beautiful, of course, especially this privacy thing that Richard alluded to. I really hope that will come, because I believe that nobody should know. That private banking is very important, and we don't have it in the TradFi world anymore. But there's another thing that I was remembering from back in the day when so many Synergy protocols were forking each other. And then there was a site, and it was called whatthefork.xyz.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still exists, but
Yeah.
it basically took ohm forks, and it took Synergy tomb forks and everything. Like you could check for the fork and how many forks there were. Now, I don't necessarily want to tout that site for everything, because I don't really believe that forking is the way to go. I think you should have unique products. But to have one or multiple sites where all the projects on Pulse are easily listed and easily findable, and also but what they also did is like, okay, this one is turning into a rug, or this one is suspicious, or these guys are doxed, or stuff like that. They had listings about that, and about the size of that thing. And I think for the internal groups, a thing like that is really easy and really nice, because I mean, PUSD is coming. I never heard of it before. Crystal Finance, I would like to see. And if there's a place where all of that is together, then sure, I'll click the links.
Well, the closest place is probably PulseCoin list is probably the closest thing to what you're talking about.
PulseCoin list. Well, see,
PulseCoinlist.com, yeah.
This is the whole thing that for me as a newbie on PulseChain, all of these sites, they're really hard to find.
Well, we have them in my Discord. We've got every single site just about you can imagine. So
I'll go there. I'll go to your Discord. A second thing that I wanted to say is that we need new capital. We just don't. We shouldn't just tout to each other all the bloody time. So as soon as we have a protocol that's really running, and that is really interesting for new investors, and that could in some way, shape, or form be a little bit simple, then that protocol, especially if it's making money, should definitely advertise towards those people who are outside of DeFi or outside of PulseChain, and make it as simple as possible. That's what I'm looking forward to doing myself. Like as soon as my protocol hits and we actually get some revenue, I want to take the simplest part of my protocol and then bring it to the public. I want my dad to be able to get in, whereas right now he's never even bought crypto. I want that kind of stuff to work, and I think that if we do that, then the whole idea, the general public of DeFi and crypto as a whole, as being a place where scammers and criminals go, will change, because people then say, "Oh, it actually works. Oh, it's actually somewhere you can go and where you will not get, either." Where you will not get booed away because you don't understand it yet, where you can actually make some money, where you can actually be safe, where you can actually be okay, where things get explained to you, where you can simply, you might take a day to learn it, but then you're fine, and then you can take your time. I mean, I really, really would like to get to that level, because that is the only way that we can defeat the TradFi system.
Yeah,
and we should.
100%. I agree. I think that's a great vision for success, and yeah, I'm looking forward to your project.
Yeah, well, me too.
There's one or two projects that I'm aware of that are coming down the pipeline that may do that. I don't know. We'll find out, right? It's just one of those things. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting where that goes. But what you guys are offering with XUSD is, I think, pretty awesome, and I'm really going to enjoy watching it play out over the next 18 months or so, whatever, however long it takes. So yeah, and it's pretty awesome. Do you guys have any final words for the show? Because I don't want to keep you too long on it.
Well, I think it's important to go to xstripusd.net to check USD, but I also think it's important to go to love.io to check love.io, which is Anders, and I also think it's important to go. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's also.
And
You can come
I have
on to
to.
because
I
I'm
think.
waiting for that.
I think that we should actually do that, because we have some really interesting, and we have spent basically 3 years with building the first bridge between PulseChain and ETH and the Binance Smart Chain and base to PulseChain. We have staking and lending protocols. I have had 22 devs working, mostly Russian and Ukrainians in the team, but it's, as I say, locally, it's probably only in love.io that can work together, So.
Yeah, love.io, so it fits the word. Yeah. I would love that. And Nikki, also, if when you get project up, I'd love to cover that too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well,
I love innovation. I love good people. So it's a good match.
I'll definitely come on your stream, and for those people who are already interested, go to betterbank.io.
Betterbank. There we go.
Betterbank.io, and you can get into all the socials and keep updated. We are still building, but we're quite close. I wouldn't be surprised if we launch in June on PulseChain. So
wow, that's really close. Yeah, cool. That's close. Yeah.
And,
all right.
and audited and everything. So yeah, definitely come. What's this Godman market saying?
GS Nikki, I'm promoting PulseChain to DeFi communities in part, but we need more liquidity and reliable expectation. Our funds can be safe, grow, transact professionally. There we go.
Let's make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just make that happen.
Hey, servicing, Katie, I really enjoyed following you guys. I'm going to keep following you guys pretty closely, and looking forward to what your vision's awesome with the rest of Nikki and Anders.
Thank you.
Thank you for invitation to the stream, and I'm glad you had us here.
Pleasure. And big shout out. Hit me up anytime, as always, and I'll be in Telegram, obviously. And look forward. Hope you guys can get on with the rest of the day. I don't know what time it is there, but wherever you guys are around the world. But
morning.
Get your coffee if you have coffee. I don't know. Get your coffee. And croissants or whatever. All right. I've really enjoyed interviewing you guys. I think you guys are, like I said, one of the top 3 teams on PulseChain for many reasons. And it's been really fun to talk to you, and I've been looking forward to it. And Anders, Nikki, if your projects come out, just hit me up on those. And of course,
this is out. Anders is already on chain for a long time.
I know. I've asked about what's happened to Love.io. I said, what's happened? These things all the time, right? I'm coming to them all the time. So it's time. So hit me up on that.
Yeah. that sounds great. So let's keep
I got the
keep
love.
in contact.
I got the love.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, so we're going to wrap up the
Okay.
show here, and so I guess you guys can say goodbye.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Hey, everybody,
Cheers.
thanks for watching and all the great questions. Godman and Matt and Barley, everybody else for jumping in the chat there. You guys know who you are. And we're going to finish the show now. So take care. And bye for now. I just realized I don't actually have my official end on this channel. But we'll end with the intro instead. All right. Peace out. Take care, everybody.
Cheers.
And
Bye.
love. Lots of love. That's what we can say.